What's happening, everybody? Just trying to check to see if the chat overlay is working, and it doesn't look like it. I think I had this problem last time, and I had to wait until after the scheduled stream start time or something. Can you guys even hear me? You might be able to now, I'm not sure. All right, let's try now with this chat overlay. It always gives me problems, but normally seems to work eventually. Come on. Might need to manually reconfigure it. I think I probably do. Yep, not working. But the voice audio and the music are all good and everything. You might need to give me a minute to get this crap working again. Come on, what's going on? Activate. Great. Let's test the overlay some more. No, it's still not working. I will just manually recreate it. Ah, shit. Alright, maybe that's gonna work. Huh? I barely know how this overlay software works, so you might have to bear with me for a moment. What could the problem be? Oh, I think I might need to sign into YouTube on this thing. Yeah, let me try doing that. Close this window after signing in. I have done that now. Alright, I'm gonna try one more thing and hopefully it'll work. Trash this. YouTube video ID. Oh, I've got two of these running, do I? I might actually. No, I don't even know. Oh, come on. What's your problem? Promise I'll start any minute now. Okay, it says it might be good. Oh, come on, man. All right, I'm gonna give up in just a second. All right, if that didn't work, then I totally give up, and I apologize. I'll just try to pay attention to the chat window here. No overlay. I have genuinely no idea why. Maybe it'll just start working. Maybe it won't. Who knows? Anyways, we're gonna get started. So we had a release last week. So I'm gonna go over the release notes, which are on my synth, which nobody can probably read except me. But anyways, so to start with, I made improvements to this little like preview feature. Actually, you know what? Let me load the patch notes on my website and then share that. Actually, I don't even think that's gonna make things any better. I don't even know. Nah, screw it. Anyways, so I made improvements to the preview. And the preview, if you don't know, it's where you go into the module or into the create page into one of the sub modules and hit the preview button. And yeah, actually, let me show you what that is. I will go to the patch notes on my website, but I won't show it to you guys. One second. I didn't even add the patch notes to the website yet. I'll go into this file. All right, so this little preview view, it lets you view one of the modules in isolation. You hit shift and then go to preview. And now it doesn't close when you kind of go into here, so you can experiment with things a little more and get a clearer sense of what's going on in these modules in isolation, which is useful. But then when you back out, it closes the preview. So that's definitely a UI improvement. So in the orb module, there's now a tick width that lets you change the width of these little lines that we're rendering there. I fixed a handful of bugs. The Wi-Fi manager is now way better. It would basically just be impossible for some people to join Wi-Fi networks and things like that, and that should be seriously improved. It's now a lot more robust if your Wi-Fi network drops out, and it'll like auto log you on a little more reliably. So it should just generally work a lot better and actually like work for most people now. So I consider that to be pretty much done and taken care of, unless there's more bugs in it. But I've been meaning to get around to that for a minute, but I'm glad it's actually in there now. That stupid freezing issue with beat reactivity that everybody was having, that I was super confused by, is now fixed. Yes, I added this feature that was supposed to freeze and pause the synth when it was unplugged, just so it's not draining power and like just computing nonstop when there's no monitor plugged in, but that does not work at all. So if you unplug the display cable and plug it back in, the synth is going to crash. I already figured out what the problem is. I'll get a hotfix out for that tomorrow. And then there was a performance optimization that got turned off by something. I'm actually not even sure what turned it off, but I turned it back on. So all the synths should be running at the appropriate speed now. So with that all out of the way, we're gonna get started. And today we're gonna basically do the exact same thing we did last week, which is to make some patches. So I'm still gonna play around in the fractal instrument. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Oh, actually I did have an idea. I'm gonna make things like completely flat and play without the lighting and see what we can do there. So if you may or may not know, but there's a lighting module in the colors module. So we're in the lighting submodule of the color submodule of the fractal instrument. And it kind of has a fake 2.5D lighting effect. See, you move the light around, does that kind of stuff. It looks pretty cool, but the synth also looks cool without it. It looks a lot more flat and a little more old school, but it still looks cool. And we're gonna play with that, I think. So first thing is, so most of these patches here are variations on the lighting, but the init patch for no light basically turns all the lighting off. Now it's flat. There's still a rounded effect that's happening because of shading, and that's coming from the seed module. If you actually look at the seed module in isolation, you can see that it's a border, and that shading is literally just a fade to black that happens at the edge of this. And yeah, you can zoom the seed in and out with this control right here, and you can see where that's coming from. There's some more things you guys might not know. These right here, these mysterious waveforms, kind of hard to explain, but basically this determines how that gradient, the border, happens. So you could play around with it and get some sense of ways you can transform it. So it's the same gradient, but just 90 degrees out of phase. Or similar to it anyways. It's actually, yeah, this is actually really cool. Let's play with this. So we're gonna put a step wave in there, and you can go into it and actually control the number of steps. I don't think you can automate this. That would be interesting if you could. Let me actually see if it lets you go in here and like make an LFO for this. It does. I have no idea if this is gonna work. What happens if I set this to like 20 and then just sine wave from 0 to 20 steps? Is it actually gonna quantize it properly? I think it might. Let's see. Whoa. All right, we want that to be at least like 2, right? And then 20 is way too high. This is kind of dumb. I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's at least something different. Yeah, I should actually probably start recording this video. All right, so we got that. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. I'm probably not, but at least I know that you can actually put what if I just do like a saw wave, so it at least isn't going back and forth. I mean, sure, let's try it. I don't think this is gonna be cool at all, but we'll see what happens. See, and you saw like the preview stayed on while I was doing all that stuff, but before it would turn off. So we're kind of building the seed module in isolation. We turned off all the feedback, we turned off the coloring effects. So now we're gonna go and let's just start with like the image texture. See, that already looks pretty dumb with the animation that I did. Let's try this guy. No, not good enough. Oh yeah, let's do this thing. All right, so we're texturing the seed with the final output of the system. So there are all these like underscore text modules right here. Well, at least maybe they're not all the underscore text, but there's several modules here which basically give you textures that are other points in the system. Like you can take the entire seed module output and use that elsewhere in the system. That's what these do. And this is the final output of the system. This is the output of the recurse module. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, the recursion module. And yeah, so this lets you like basically kind of create module connections at will to kind of get around the predefined structure of the instrument. So it can be interesting. It can also be crappy, but that's for you to figure out. All right, so I'm gonna zoom. These TX right here control the zoom scale of the texture. So you see how we got another feedback layer inside of the width of this seed. I'm gonna actually make the seed a little bit bigger. So now we've got that. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm gonna turn off that LFO. It's actually quite stupid. Yeah, I mean, it looks cool enough as it is, so we'll just leave it like that. So this is a seed texture. It's black and white. So let's like, is it black? Yeah, all right, it's black and white because there's no color added. So there's this little like bias control in here, which is also useful to kind of, when you're creating feedback loops with these things, it lets you add in a little bit of content. So, because if you have a feedback loop and you don't have anything going into it, you get nothing. This bias adds something into feedback loops. So we're texturing the seed with the output of the entire synth, and there's no content coming in from anywhere. We're not splicing in any images. So this text bias kind of adds just like a solid color to it. So it actually gives something. All right. So we've got this here. And we're gonna use the effect to get some color in. Let's play around with the stripe just to get some transparency. Alpha stripe. Is it doing anything? It's not, and I don't know why. Alpha stripe 1. That's cool. That's also cool. It's taking out a little bit too much of the content. Yeah, there we go. And if you go in here, you can actually like get some idea of what this thing is doing. So this is kind of applying this sort of mask to the texture, where those like dark bars are transparency. And there's a bunch of parameters in here. Actually, there's this one. Let's make it. I think that's 45 degrees when it's 0.25. There we go. Let's see what that did. Sure. All right. All right. Now we're gonna add some color with the effect. Which effect are we gonna use? We have to turn the effect on. Already looks cool. A little bit too rainbowy, but I guess that's what we get for using the little rainbow module. Saturating black and white. What in the world? I don't even know what that's about. Pastel. Quantize. That looks kind of rad. I think you can actually go in here and change the number of levels for the quantization. Let's add more levels. Increase the size, decrease the size, I don't even know. We'll add color like in the post-processing layer. So this is like a, yeah, let's just put this thing on the LFO. Let's just make the entire thing rotate in here. We're going, crap. I gotta fix that. You can't create, I think you can do it this way. Hey, all right. I'm going to do a scroll LFO, so this will basically just take the parameter from 0 to 1 infinitely. So it's basically the easiest thing to do with these rotation parameters. So, oh, that's way too fast. All right, so we got this going on. What else can we even do in here? I think there are these controls, which give you... Yeah, let's make this one. I think go on a scroll wave from -1 to +1. And then it should... No, scroll wave. It should just repeat afterwards. All right, so we got that. Let's turn off this preview and actually see what we've made. All right, so the seed looks cool. It's too wide and everything's zoomed out too much. So we're gonna go out here and zoom in. I like that. So we got something cool. It's black and white. Let's go in the color module and start playing around here. I'm gonna use the color sphere because that's an easy way to turn black and white stuff into colored stuff. I'm gonna turn up this depth scale. This looks cool. Got a transparency control. And somebody in the chat was asking about this. There's a adjust effect right here. Turn it on. Shouldn't do anything because all the adjustments are off by default. But then we go into here, and yeah, you got brightness, contrast, saturation, and exposure. So brightness up. We need more brightness. Contrast, the max. Saturation, nah, we'll leave that. Oh, negative saturation? What the hell does that even mean? Oh, it just, huh. All right, sure, why not? Exposure. All right, max contrast is not what we want. I want a sensible, reasonable amount of contrast. Brightness. Maybe I'll put the brightness on an LFO, because that actually looks kind of cool going in and out here. From like 3 to... Let's make it go from 2 to 4 really slow. And you do that by pushing down the button, scrolling over to LFO, 0.2 to 0.4, and we're gonna make the rate like 57 beats. Cool. All right, so we got that. So everything's looking all squarey. So let's go into the recurse module and play around with that. Actually, let's play around with the blender because I never do that. See what happens. Most of these look garbage most of the time, but sometimes it actually ends up looking pretty cool. Like, this isn't terrible. Whoa, I was not expecting that. How did that happen even? Why does it just like shift from colors to black and white? Who even knows? Yeah, what the hell is this? I bet something is like overflowing somewhere or something like that. Oh, weird. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea what's happening. It's kind of cool, but it's not really what I want right now. I'm gonna turn the symmetry off. I mean, I like how when the music hits in, it happens. I really don't have any idea what's doing this, but I'm not gonna question it because it's pretty cool. Let's go in here and play around with... Oh, wait, no, I like that one. No, we're not playing around with that. I know, right? I have no idea how that is happening, but it's what we got. All right, let's add some modulation. Actually, let's like save this before we do anything, or else I will fuck it up. Cool. All right, so we got a patch here. Gonna add some modulation. Let's just use some of the out-of-the-box ones. Mod audio 1. This is even a video. I mean, that was an improvement. Cool. What am I even using for like the texture again? Oh, I'm using the output texture. That's right. I don't like how like this square is like really visible. Can I make it like more transparent as we get to the edge? Like there is this let's play around with this guy. Let's see what happens here. I think one of these things might do something like that. Probably like the triangle wave or one of the triangle wave like things. Or the saw wave even. What? Yeah, I don't even know. Square wave, sure. I don't have any idea if this is doing like anything at all. I really don't like that like pixelated border on the edge. One of these has got to like fix that, right? What is even causing that? I don't know. I don't even know if this is doing anything, to be honest. Okay, what is... One of these buttons resets this to default. I don't even know. What's the default here? Must be... Oh, they're all default. Yeah, okay. Now the yellow is gone. Oh, it's positive. Wait. All right. So what else are we doing? So there's different shapes. We have. Right now we're just using this border. Let's just try other ones. Nah, it's not better. Also not better. Might be better. Oh, here's something I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this width parameter animated. So here we go, width, LFO. It's gonna go from, yeah, I think this is actually good. 0.2 to 0.5 with rates 43 beats. Now the shape gets bigger and smaller as time goes on. We'll go back into the seed module and play around with the shape until we find the one we want. This actually doesn't look terrible. It's got less of that, like, edge thing, although this square shit is unacceptable. Yeah, it's too small. Alright. I think we need something that goes across the entire space. What about these solid textures? No. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I like zoom this one in some. Actually, whoa, what's going on here, man? Is there something that's gonna make this like rotate in the way that I want it to? Does this work? No, that rotates that. That should be animated anyways. A little slower. I don't know what happened to it, like turning yellow every once in a while. I think I must have broken that somehow. Actually, you know what? There's this controls. I think it's something to do with it. I think I just need to get this at like the right point to have it like switch. Whoa. Oh man. Yeah, there we go. I think I need to make that width control. Oh crap. Animate to like a larger value. Oh wait, I didn't actually start it. Wait, what? I could have swore I started an LFO on that. No, I guess not. It may not have stayed. Or it may have gone away when I switched that module. Alright. Too fast. That's the general idea. This is cool. pretty happy with this. I'm gonna save this as it is. And it's this guy right here. All right. I'm about to call this one done. What else can we do? It's a little bit too white sometimes. What if we go into the color module? That's modulation. Play around with the fade control. Modulation. Ooh. That was cool. Nah, what about that? I kind of like that. What if we turn it down? Oh, that's just gonna make everything dark. Offset, then turn it down? No. Add? Whoa. And we're using the color sphere. 0.99, 0.54. Whoa. I need to make these like square lines like rotate. That modulation pattern is just kind of overlaid because being static is a little bit, I don't know, not the greatest. I'm fairly happy with this though. This is cool. All right, and that was modulation pattern 3, I guess, unless it's 1. I think it's actually 1, yeah. And I believe that's wavevec.th. And we get the LFO from here. And I'm going to scroll wave. And it's going to be slow, 75. And now it's this thing. Here we go. And I think the patch is done. All right, go team. Dun, 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 dun. Cool. Oh well, it's solid white right now. It's maybe it's not done. What the hell just happened? Maybe I just have to put up with that happening sometime. That must be like the contrast LFO getting too high. Let's try to maybe fix that. Or the brightness LFO. It's gotta be what that is, I think. Yeah, so let's go into the effect right now and actually verify that. It should be up at 0.4. Yeah, so once that gets high, I don't even know. Maybe it's something else. But that's kind of, it clearly destroys everything cool about the patch. So it's not the brightness LFO. Maybe it's like, you know, it'd actually be cool for this view to show the current value of this LFO. So there's a phase, W max. There's all this modulation stuff that I didn't make by hand. It comes from the modulation patch we loaded. Yeah, this has got to be fixed. This is annoying. It's not very often I have to like debug a patch. But I mean, it was like just cooler like 30 seconds ago, right? What the hell happened? I mean, I was playing around in the color module inside of this sphere thing. And maybe it's because I put this modulation on here. It might have been. This was at like 0.52, I think. No, it's still happening. Maybe it's when I made this thing rotate? I really don't know. Ah, you bastard. Alright. And I think I just overwrote the patch, so it's not like I can revert to the previous version. That would also be a cool feature, but yeah, we don't have it. What is causing all that whiteout stuff? It might be the modulation patterns. Alright, so I'm going to go with the modulation module, and when it starts happening, I'm going to preview this module and see if one of them just looks really like a solid color or something. It's doing mostly fine at the moment. Alright, now it's happening, so... Alright, maybe it's modulation pattern 1 that's causing something. Oh, that one's using the camera. That's not even plugged in. Yeah, see, then modulation pattern 1 comes back, and I think it's probably gone now. Yeah, alright, so modulation pattern 1. It's probably this W min thing. Yeah, I bet it's that. Let's cut that off. Yep, that was it. Alright. I wouldn't expect anybody else to understand what just happened, but I believe I fixed it. Did I? Maybe. Maybe not even. Maybe it was because of the rotation I put on here. I'm not sure. Alright, what else is on an LFO? It's got to be one of the LFOs. It would also be cool to be able to like pause an LFO. That'd be a nice feature. It's almost certainly none of these things I did. It's got a phase control, probably not that. Could be some of these modulation frequencies. It does look at least slightly better. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. After I go back and turn on some more of this stuff in the color here. Oh wait. Alright, anyways. I'm just gonna call this one done. I'll fix it like offline. I won't bore you guys with this. Let's wait till it's a little bit less white. There we go. Actually, let's wait till it's right about to do something cool. There we go. All right. I'm gonna go get a glass of water, then I'll be back in like 30 seconds. And then I need to add, oh crap. Yeah, this just got static electricity shocked. So I'm going to unplug the synth and plug it back in. Hey, thanks. I really appreciate that. I've been working on it for years, and I'm glad that it's finally out and into people's hands. Took quite a while to actually get it finished, and it's still in development. There's still a million things that I want to do, but yeah, it's in pretty good shape right now. All right. Last thing I want to do is go in here and tag this patch with the tag I made the other day. And now I'm going to make a patch for the oscilloscope. I don't know why. Just kind of feel like it. Hey, the chat window's working. What the hell's that about? I did not do anything like at all. I guess it wasn't my fault then. It's like their server or something. I have no idea. Anyways, cool. All right, so what are we gonna do here? I don't even know. I rarely play with this. So, I mean, you can't make... Oh, it did start a while ago. All right. So you can't make your own, like, modes and programs, but you definitely can create your own patches. I guess it really... The Critter Atari might use a different metaphor than we use, but... You can create all kinds of stuff in here. You can't write your own code and upload it. That's pretty much the major limitation, but I mean, pretty much like, you're not just limited to all the patches that it comes with. And I mean, it does come with like about 1,000 of them. You can very much go in there and create your own, which is what we're doing right now. So the limitations are minimal. There's like a shit ton of stuff you can do with it. You can create your own stuff on board and save it and recreate it and all that stuff. Yeah, clearly. All right, so we're gonna use the oscilloscope. Also, yeah, I think that might just be the. All right, so we're gonna start this rotation. We're gonna make things go fast or slow. I think we're gonna make them zoom around like a crazy person. Gonna make it large. Make it also quite long, and then we're gonna zoom to where we're in the middle of it. Sure, why not? No, that doesn't work at all. All right, so we got that. Solid color. We'll play around with that later. All right, so got those macros. Zoom out. There we go. All right, so axis radius. Let's turn the axis off for now. All right, now we're gonna play with the waveform. So it does not support NDI yet. I did get a license for NDI a little while ago, and that's something people have been asking for a moment. It is something I'm going to try to get working, but I have this device optimized to such a degree that it just might not have the resource capabilities left to properly implement NDI. I really just don't know. I won't know before I get around to trying it, which is going to happen in the next few months. I'm hoping by this summer to have a conclusive idea, a conclusive implementation, but it is probably the #1 most requested feature. And yeah, so it's definitely something that's on my radar. It's just, I've got a lot of stuff going on, and it hasn't been something I've had a time to really deal with yet. All right, so I'm just gonna play with these randomly until something cool happens. Those these kind of look like garbage. Let's do step waves on every single one, and then we'll go to like straight Windows pipes mode. You know, this might be something stupid to put the step LFO on. Here we go. LFO. Max 10. Min 2. Alright, let's do it. What in the world? I mean, that is definitely stupid. Yeah, it's got Ethernet. I really like how whatever's happening with this wave is synchronized with the music. Like every 8 beats, it's doing its thing. Yeah, so it's got the hardware to support NDI. It just like The processor inside of it has 1 gigabyte of RAM, and I'm already using like 700 megabytes. Yeah, that might be the major constraint there. Like, video does not take a small amount of RAM, and implementing another video system, which I don't have arbitrary control over, just might be impossible. I really don't know. Oh, so you're... okay. Alright, so which one is this? What if I do a scroll wave? What is that even going to do? It's just going to go off to no man's land. Why is it flat? It really shouldn't be. Maybe I have like one of these frequencies set to 0. Oh, this one's set to 1, and everyone else is set to 3. No, that's not it either. Alright, so you're set to 3, you're all set to 3. Alright, yeah, I don't understand why it's like... yeah, screw this step wave, this is dumb. It looks like it's literally constrained to 1 plane, and I don't understand why. No, I can't use the same one. What's going on here? Alright, I just gotta start from scratch. Alright. I need to understand how this actually works. I don't ever play around with this, so I'm just as confused as you guys are. So which dimension is Y? Y is up. Alright, let's turn off this animation first. Alright, so we're looking at it from that way. Alright, so we got a saw wave. That's clearly the one that goes up and down. Alright. Just goes to the bottom and then leaps to the top. That makes sense. And if I put that through like a step wave, that should take steps, right? Step, 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 step. Yeah, let's increase the number of steps, and then it should do something interesting. Yeah, okay. That is behaving as expected. Looks stupid, but... you know, it might be because, like, that's right. I think I need phase controls for each of these waveforms, and that would actually solve the problem. Because if you have, like, if you have 3 waves on 3 axes, and they're all doing the same thing, that's going to be, like, just a line going through space, and it won't actually have any dimensional extrusion. It'll just be, like, because if all X, Y, and Z coordinates are identical, you just get a line. Wow, does that even make sense? It might, I'm not sure. Alright, so this is going to go to be identical to here. You know what? Fuck everything about this. I'm just hitting random until it looks cool. I ain't got time for this. There's also these, like, coordinate modes, which I guess it's setting. I mean, this little guy looks alright. Whoa. This might take a minute. Is that using, like, music? No? Oh, it is using the... no, actually, I don't even know. It might. Looks kind of like it is, but... wow, it's just what everybody always wanted. Alright, this looks cool. Let's, like, make it bigger. And then slower. And we're on coordinate mode 2. There we go. I think if we add some offsets, then it won't all be jammed into the center. Whoa. Cool, I'm just doing that. Alright, so this is gonna be on a scroll wave from -1 to 1. Saw wave. There we go. And then, yeah, this one is the one I wanted. And I want to make this go from, yeah, we're just sine wave U. Is this song? Focus. Alright, so this guy's doing that. And then this is also going to be the same type of -1 to -1 saw wave LFO. So we'll get rotation on the other axis, put it out of phase with this thing. A little slower. Saw wave. There we go. Alright, so we got that going on. I should really put this shit on like spherical mode by default because this just looks way cooler. And what's this other thing? Oh shit. Going into here. There's like a transparent edges button. Do we want transparent edges or not? I think we want the transparent edges. We also still want it bigger. Is that as big as it gets? It is. What if I like do that? Nope. Alright, so we got that going on. That helps a little bit. What about wavelength? What if we make, whoa, what am I even doing here? Wow! Alright, that's a bunch. Alright, I'll take it. What if we make it super fast? Nope. What if we like slow it all the way down to 0? Sure. Alright. X frequency? Wow. I thought that was better than this. I thought I fixed that issue. No, I guess not. What was it, like 1.8? I'll just leave that there and never touch it. Alright, yeah, so we also have this texture waveform, which right now is using, oh, it's doing something really wild. Alright, let's save this thing also before I fuck everything up. Alright, so what if we use like one of these waveform visualizers? Wow! Alright. I'll take that. Let's play around with some of the other ones real quick. That is way too slow. Let's put an orb on there. Alright, that's really stupid. I like these lights. That was great. And we've got some. So we're on palette 5. Let's remember that. It might be a better one. I kind of like that actually. This is cool, man. It's running kind of slow, but it's still kind of rad. Hue offset? No, I don't think we need to do that. Intensity 5. We definitely want this all the way up. All right, spread 0.9. All the way down to 0. This is definitely the coolest thing I've seen this instrument do so far. All right, so I'm gonna make a video out of this patch. This is cool. It needs to be able to do more than this. It also needs to respond to music somehow. I don't really know how I'm gonna do that, but I'll figure that out. All right, I can make the all right, so let's leave it like this for the moment. Or actually, let's put an LFO on this, just because. What if we do like a really fast LFO? I mean, that looks really stupid, but. Oh, you know what we can do? I'm gonna stop this LFO, but I'm gonna hook this parameter into the music system. So that was the intensity. We're gonna go to info, IO. We're gonna put this mapping inside the patch. We're gonna create an audio mapping where that value goes to 1 every time there's a beat and goes to 0 every time there's not a beat. We're gonna set the value of that intensity parameter, and that should be it. Can't actually detect the audio yet because I think this has actually got too complex of a beat. There we go. I think going to 0 is too low. So we're gonna have it go from 0.4 to 0. All right, there we go. Got some basic audio reactivity into this. All right, so if I'm gonna make a music video out of this, I'm gonna need like variations because it can't just be this the whole time, regardless of how cool this is. And we also probably can put something in the background. I'm kind of all right with a black background at the moment, but what happens if I turn the light off? Wow, that actually looks fucking cool too. All right, so that'll be one of the variations. Actually, yeah, all right, so let's turn the light back on. Make sure we have it saved properly. And then I'll make some variations and save those, and we'll just swap the variations. While we're making the video. All right, so I need like 3 variations, and then I'll just load them and like swap between them in the middle of making the video. All right, so yeah, all right. So we got that. A no light variation, but with a different color inside of this thing. What is this wave even? Oh shit. Yeah, okay, that's the motion of the lights. So we're on palette 9. This is awesome. All right, so this is variation 2. All right, what are we gonna put in the background? I don't even know. I mean, I guess you can. Oh wait, there's another thing I wanted to do. I wanted to. Yeah, we haven't even gone into the scope module yet. So the scope controls the axis, which is off, which is staying off. It controls this view radius. I was gonna hook this up to like the volume, or actually, you know what? This is just gonna go on LFO, and it's gonna go from like 3 to 5 slowly. Oh, you know what? This is only getting saved with this version of the patch. That's a little annoying. Man, I sure am bogging this thing down with this. All right, well anyways, I'm gonna overwrite the patch. We've got the second one here, which is this guy. All right, and then we're gonna go back to the original one and make a third variation of this. This one has the lighting. All right, now this one's gonna have something in the background. And by that, I mean probably just some feedback. Actually, I don't even know. I mean, I created some like white light in the middle, which is cool. Actually, I don't even know if I can get feedback in this background, but I can get that white effect, which is great. I think the feedback has to come through the color module. Yeah, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to change it to a different color palette. We have color palettes 9. This one's decent, 17. Yeah, all right, we're keeping this guy on. I like this song. All right, I think we're gonna use this song, whatever this is. This is the video, The Mind Pool. All right. All right, so I'm gonna go save this. All right. I'm gonna stop this recording. I'm gonna turn off the chat overlay. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the color module and turn the fade all the, actually, no wait, we're starting on the first patch that I made. So we've got 3 right here, yep. Starting on this patch. Oh, how does the switches between patches look? Does it look okay? It does switch super fast, so I'm gonna go into settings and make the switches instantaneous because that's looking a little too gnarly. Transition speed. Actually, you know what? What if I make it really slow? Still way too fast. Oh, it's the create mode transition speed. Create UI has its own transition speed, and it's gonna be 8. All right, yeah, these transitions look fine. is that even? Maybe it's too slow. Actually, let's make it 4. Ah, crap. All right, patch 1. Patch 2. No, I'm just gonna make it instantaneous. I don't like those transitions at all. Ah, come on, man. All right, we're starting here. Except that I'm gonna start with this guy right out there. There's some weird like artifacts from the edges here. I don't know what that's about. All right, so I'm gonna turn the chat window off. I'm gonna turn this off. And then I'm gonna restart the song. It was this guy. And I'm gonna turn my microphone off. Alright, cool. We got another half-assed music video. Alright, I think that's probably it for the stream today. We got some cool patches for sure. They should be coming in one of the next next updates. I'll make sure to get these to you guys. Question and answer time. Anybody got any ideas, thoughts, suggestions, anything? Yeah, my pleasure as always, man. As the Rock Pyre, whatever hardware improves, will be drop-in replacements for the hardware core. No. That is... there's literally no available like replacement that could fit in there if I wanted to do something like that. Yeah, so like it's definitely an SBC in a certain form factor, and there's nothing that could really be upgraded to that's just a drop-in replacement, so that's definitely off the table, unfortunately. Although maybe, I mean, so there are like RAM updates that could be a drop-in replacement. It may be the case that you need like a $50 update kit to update the RAM in order to get some video features or something like that. It wouldn't be a... Yeah, there's unfortunately not. They don't really tend to make drop-in replacements of any of this kind of stuff, unfortunately. But yeah, like I mentioned, I might offer a drop-in replacement to update the RAM. If the RAM is the bottleneck to getting things like NDI and some other video stuff working, then I will actually do that, because the synths all have 1 GB of RAM, but there are other models that have 2 and 4 GB. So I could arrange it to get a handful of those, and for people that wanted like NDI and stuff like that, you might be able to just swap out that little computer in there with the one with more RAM. But there's no processor upgrades or anything like that will actually increase like the speed or update it to like higher resolution and that kind of stuff. There are like more optimizations that I'm planning on doing down the line that will increase the speed and the performance. Like this right now, it definitely is pretty laggy, but the Wavy Boy instrument has not been optimized hardly at all. So there are definitely ways to make this particular thing faster. It's just really a question of like time and focus, you know? So I'll get around to that at some point, but yeah. In the meantime, I'm gonna add more modules and do other random stuff and UI improvements and all that kind of stuff. So should have another release in a couple of weeks. And yeah. All right, thanks everybody for coming by. We should be streaming again next weekend, barring any unforeseen circumstances, but yeah. All right, see you guys around. So if I'm still on here, the synths ship to Europe currently. If you order it from my website, I will ship a synth out to Europe tomorrow. I've shipped millions. I've shipped plenty of synths to Europe already. We're working with a distributor. DHL has had a package in their hands for like forever. It's just absolute nightmare getting everything in the proper channels, like the stores in Europe. That should be happening in the next couple of months, but I don't have any concrete dates. Right now, the only way to get a synth to Europe is to buy one from my website, which I prefer anyways, because I make more money when you do that. And it's gonna be the exact same cost whether you buy it. So Schneidersladen, yeah, they're getting them sometime in the next few months. I don't have the exact date, but yeah, so you can get it directly from my website. I'll ship it to you. You have to take care of import fees yourself, but the Schneidersladen and other store costs in the EU are going to have that built into the price. So there's no like price benefit to ordering it from Schneidersladen. So I recommend you just buy it directly from my website, because I make $300 more for each one of those. So yeah, I can ship a synth out tomorrow if you want to get one to Europe. Anyways, thanks again for coming by, guys. I'll see you guys around.